the underground heatsink hack from World War II that outperformed modern cooling and, honestly, nobody talks about. There's a moment in every deep dive where you hit a detail so sharp, so unexpected, it feels like it rewires the way you look at history. This is one of those moments. Because the real reason many World War II underground shelters stayed cool, ice cool, even when the summer sun was beating the earth like a war drum, wasn't luck, wasn't magic, and definitely wasn't some forgotten prototype air conditioner hidden in a vault. It was an engineering technique so simple, so brutally effective, that modern survivalists are still rediscovering it the hard way. And today you're getting the full breakdown. Let's strip this down to the essentials. World War II engineers learned to turn the ground itself into a climate system. Not a metaphor, literally a giant, steady, dependable thermal battery humming under their boots. Dig deep enough and the soil stops reacting to the chaos above it. Heat waves? Irrelevant. Scorching sun? Doesn't matter. A few feet down, the earth settles at the average yearly temperature of the region, usually somewhere between 12 and 15 degrees Celsius in temperate zones. That means, if you build right, the earth becomes your constant, your stabilizer, your silent partner in cooling. That's the secret many underground shelters had, and many above-ground bunkers didn't. The best performers weren't necessarily built of exotic concrete mixes. They were built with one thing modern builders often forget: massive, dense soil directly pressed against the living space. It acted like a thermal sponge, soaking heat slowly, releasing it even slower. That's why some soldiers described stepping into certain bunkers as stepping into a stone refrigerator. Their words, not mine. And if you're the kind of person building off-grid shelters, prepping a root cellar, or prepping a family emergency bunker, this isn't just trivia. It's actionable tech. For a modern build, bury the room at least 1 meter below grade and keep every wall in tight contact with compacted soil. Don't isolate it. Don't protect it with empty cavities. You want the earth hugging that structure like armor. That's your first layer of natural climate control right there. But here's where World War II ingenuity really levels up. Stable underground temperature is good, sure, but airflow, that's what actually turns a tolerable underground space into something like, wait, this is surprisingly comfortable. Soldiers figured out pretty early on that even cool rooms feel, well, stagnant without air circulation. But, electricity wasn't always guaranteed. Vent fans could break down, generators could fail. So instead, designers decided to weaponize physics. They built long, narrow intake tunnels, 6, sometimes even 8 meters long, that forced air to travel through a corridor surrounded on every side by cool, compacted soil. As the air moved along, it naturally surrendered its heat into the earth. By the time it reached the central chamber, the temperature could drop by 5 to 10 degrees Celsius, depending on how moist the soil was. Moist dirt, as it turns out, is a much better conductor, which actually made rain a sort of quiet blessing. Then came the exit flue. Not a chimney, not a fan, just a smartly placed, slightly elevated outlet. Warm air rises even underground, and by placing this outlet higher than the intake, they created a passive draft system that didn't require a single watt of power. Air would come in cool, rise as it warmed, and exit naturally. Pretty clever, isn't it? Modern version? Oh, that's easy. You just bury a long PVC or clay pipe intake at a shallow downward angle. And make sure the outlet is just a little bit higher than the room. The earth will handle the cooling for you, and physics will take care of the airflow. Now let's talk layout. This is another honestly overlooked piece of wartime brilliance. Inside a shelter, not every room is equal, right? Designers would intentionally place sleeping quarters, planning rooms, and storage spaces deeper in the cool zone, well behind the longest stretch of soil. The hot rooms, that's mechanical repair areas, cooking nooks, places with fuel or equipment, they put those near the outlet flue, where the heat they produced could ride the airflow up and out. It was elegant, efficient, and frankly, decades ahead of some modern off-grid designs. So, if you're plotting your own underground setup, just copy the pattern. Put your main living zone deeper and keep anything hot near the exit. That's how you maintain a comfortable interior without fighting thermal buildup. But the crown jewel of this forgotten system was the top layer, the shelter's roof. World War II engineers didn't simply bury bunkers for camouflage. They used layered backfill like a multi-stage thermal shield. First came rubble for air pockets, then compressible loam for moisture retention, and finally the MVP sod, vegetation, living ground cover. That green layer absorbed sunlight, shaded the roof, and stabilized temperature swings better than bare soil ever could. Modern tests of reconstructed shelters show vegetation-covered roofs consistently outperforming plain soil by several degrees. So, if you're building today, don't underestimate what a simple layer of packed earth topped with grass or hardy ground cover can do. You don't need military budgets, just gravity and time. What makes all of this so impressive is how reliable it was. No power required, no delicate machinery, just dirt, depth, geometry, airflow, and, well, patience. These structures kept soldiers alert during heat waves, protected food stores without refrigeration, preserved munitions, and offered civilians places of refuge that didn't feel like ovens. And the best part? The whole system is still viable, still practical, still cost-effective for anyone building an off-grid shelter today. You want a cool emergency hideout? Dig deep enough to hit stable temperature, build with soil contact, add a long-buried intake tube, keep your living space deep and your heat sources near the outlet. Put layered soil and vegetation over the roof. You'll get results that would make a wartime engineer nod with approval. If discoveries like this hit your curiosity the way they hit mine, make sure you subscribe to HistoryHQ, share this breakdown with the history-minded people in your circle, and help keep these forgotten engineering tricks alive.